Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with SMCI Analysis and Assessment. SMCI had a good movement last week. Can the GTC conference help SMCI to go further up next week as well? And also, based on SMCI fundamentals, does SMCI has upside potential and how much? We'll try to answer these questions in this video. Now, let's get started. Starting with the weekly candlestick chart for SMCI, you see that last week we had a green candlestick, so that tells we had a positive ending last week. But before that, we had two red candlesticks. So those 2 weeks, SMCI was under pressure. But overall, in last probably 2 to 3 months, SMCI had been under pressure. So last year, same time around March and April, SMCI was able to make all-time high. That is 114.78. So historically speaking, March and April is a good time for SMCI. We all are hoping SMCI to go further up in March and April this year as well. And I'm positive about SMCI. And if you talk about the technical charts, as I show you on your screen, 180 days hourly interval chart for SMCI and also the Fibonacci levels. Based on the Fibonacci levels, the next level of resistance is around 46.72 and next level of support is around 33.88. SMCI is trading around 42 at this point, so it has more room to go further up until this Fibonacci level, that is 46.7. If the 46.7 level is broken, the next level of resistance is around 55.7, and after that is 64.7. So based on my analysis and understanding, before the next earnings, Nvidia should try to test 55 level one more time at least. And also the fair price value for SMCI is around 55 as well, based on my analysis. I will show you my analysis in a bit. But if the 55 level is broken, then the next level of resistance is 64.7. If everything goes well, it's also possible that SMCI tries to touch 64 level as well in next 2 or 3 months. And based on the MACD chart, SMCI still has positive momentum from Friday last week. So in my opinion, there is more possibility that on Monday, SMCI will also do positive closing. And based on the earnings per share, as I showed in my previous video as well, the EPS projections continues to go up in next 4 quarters. So this tells that, SMCI has a positive future outlook. And this also tells that SMCI has more room to go further up because its financials and earnings per share are expected to improve further. On February 25th, SMCI posted 10K and 10Q. In the 10Q, they adjusted the earnings per share for the last quarter to 0.54. If we go few quarters in the past, we see that SMCI never had been below zero point 0.5 earnings per share. And whenever EPS for SMCI was above 0.6, SMCI closing price was also higher than the EPS if you multiply by 10. 0.6, and you see the closing price on same day 73, earning per share 0.62, and the closing price 0.61. And if you go one more quarter prior, you see 0.55 earning per share, and the closing price on the same day was 51. Okay. So in the last quarter, the earnings per share actual was 0.54, At this point, SMCI is trading around 42. So this tells that SMCI should go above 50 at least before the next quarter if we consider the historical closing price and the EPS data. And based on my price projection, that should be valid before next earnings. My minimum level was 24.62 as I presented to you probably last week or so. My average price projection was 45. At this point, SMCI is trading around 42. So any price below 45 for SMCI, in my opinion, is a good price to buy. We want to keep SMCI for some time. The max price based on the forward P projection is 74.80. I'm not sure SMCI can touch 74 before the next earnings, but based on my calculation, that's the maximum price. But at least SMCI should touch about 55 before the next earnings, as I showed you in the technical charts. And the best case, Nvidia can go further up and touch the price level of 60. And if you take a look, the news regarding SMCI and overall AI sector for last Friday, I do not see any negative news regarding SMCI. So all positive. And since we have a GTC conference starting next week, and in my opinion, that should also help SMCI to go further up. Because if Nvidia gains more momentum next week, that should also complement SMCI. Because we all know that SMCI is a server provider that can support the Blackwell chip. So any positive news regarding the Blackwell chip next week is also a good news for SMCI. So any demand upside for Blackwell chips is also a good news for SMCI. If you talk about forward P for SMCI, SMCI forward P at this point is at 16.34. So this tells that SMCI is still underpriced. The fair value for forward P for SMCI is around 25, historically speaking, because that makes SMCI more stable. And also during those times when SMCI did not have any financial issues or the 10K issues, SMCI forward P was around 27. You see that? 6 or 7 weeks before the financial issues. So the average is 26.70 for last 7 weeks prior to financial irregularities. So that tells that SMCI is underpriced at this point, so it has more room to go further up. So all three data, that is a forward P analysis, a financial data analysis, and also technical charts, suggesting that SMCI is underpriced. SMCI has more potential to go further up. And the fair value price for SMCI, in my opinion, before the next earning is around 55. But SMCI has been under pressure just like Nvidia due to the tariff situation and overall economic uncertainty in past few weeks. And also in the near future, SMCI can face some volatility as well. But eventually, when these macroeconomic situation get stable, then SMCI has the potential to go back to above 60 that it used to be before the financial irregularities situation. I mean, sometime in Q3 last year. So that's all about my analysis and assessment for SMCI. I hope you like the video, and that should also update you regarding the future outlook of SMCI. I hope you like the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more in the next video. Take care.